Okay, so if you just cannot get enough of Access Hollywood,
or you can't stop clicking on those celebrity gossip websites, you just might be one of the star-obsessed. Cooper Lawrence is the author of the new book called The Cult of Celebrity, and she's also a psychologist on VH1's Confessions of a Teen Idol, a show featuring 7 former stars who are trying to reclaim that glory of fame, and one of them is Billy Hufsey. So nice to see the two of you.
Hello to both of you. Well, this isn't new that there is this cult of celebrity that people are obsessed with what they're wearing, what they're eating. They want to be like them, right?
It's very new.
Why is it new?
Well, did you grow up with it? I don't think so.
I kind of remember some of it.
I mean, not the way it is now. Not this onslaught of paparazzi and celebrities.
Oh, that's all
new. And they're on every single cover of every look at the proliferation of all these magazines.
That's all new. But I remember my mother telling me she used to look at those confidential and just think about what it might be like to be, you know, in love with James Stewart or something like that. So the names
it was
changed.
a column, but it wasn't the cover of Vogue, and it wasn't the cover of every magazine, and it's all we talk about.
Models used to be on those covers. Now it's movie stars and TV stars. You're right.
And we love to build them up. I mean, that's part of what we do in the media, and we love to tear them down.
That's right, so don't get used to this perch you're on right now.
What is going on?
Coming down, Hoda. Sorry.
There you go.
But let's talk
Enjoy
about
it
that.
while it lasts. Let's put it that way.
You were on top, obviously, of the celebrity world, and now you're on this reality show. Just tell us about that rise and fall, and now coming back again.
Well, I retired from show business. I was an entrepreneur when I was in show business, and I love business. So at the end of my heyday, I retired. I just didn't say this is my career is over. I called it quits.
But was it hard with all that attention and adulation, and suddenly, boom, you know, that's gone?
I was known. I was a real big guy, and I had real long hair, and my fame stopped as soon as I went into corporate America.
My hair cut it, like Samson. It's all over.
Strength, fame was gone. But you know, those 8 years in the real world allowed me to appreciate people. And as I got back into show business, you know, you don't realize what you don't have when you miss it, and I did miss it, and I've been so blessed. I went to Hollywood to be a singer 30 years ago.
He was homeless for a while.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
I was homeless and living on the street.
Susan Stafford took you in, one of the great ladies.
And one of her friends brought me in when I was living in the streets and enabled me to. And shortly after that, I got fame.
Well, why is it? Are there certain types of people who look up to a Jessica Simpson or Britney Spears or whatever it is and say, I want to be like them?
Well, I think we all do for social reasons. We like to have that conversation with our friends. I interviewed a lot of high school kids for this book, and they said, yeah, it's just entertainment for us. But there are people that really admire celebrities in an unhealthy way.
Like the young woman with Paula Abdul who killed herself. That was just one of the most tragic situations.
Right, you get people that become obsessed, and that happens to be the target of their obsession, a celebrity. And it's easy to access celebrity. They're everywhere.
But the whole paparazzi world has changed as well. I mean, there used to be a line that people did not cross. There was some separation between that private person and the public person that does not exist any longer. And you see that because legislation's now being passed and that sort of thing.
But even that, I mean, can you imagine Gloria Swanson or Marilyn Monroe having to rally for a cause or go up to you know, any politician and have an opinion? No, they were meant to be glamorous. That's all it was.
Well, and the downside's pretty clear of obsessing over these celebrities, because their lives are flawed. They may look perfect through sort of glass, but in reality, their lives are as flawed as anybody else's.
Right, and we like when they're well, not you, of course. Please, but we like when they're flawed because it makes them seem real. It takes them off the pedestal. It makes us go, oh, they're just like us.
Yeah,
and people are quite forgiving, aren't they, of certain things? I mean, it's interesting to me. Somebody like a Michael Vick now there was like no sympathy for him, but Robert Downey Jr. in prison for the drugs. Everybody was like pulling for him, and even Britney is a perfect example of people pulling for her.
Some people you do root on, don't you? And some people you have to.
I had a crazy situation. So it did happen back then. I had a lady call the studio and call my house, and she wanted to marry me. And then she eventually called the studio and said, "Billy's my husband." Long story short is I went to my dressing room one day, and she was there with a gun.
Oh,
true story.
Oh, horrible.
True story. And she says, "You're too good for this world."
That's called a shotgun wedding.
Well, yeah. Crazy.
You married the woman, and it all ended well.
And she says, "You're too good for this earth. You and I are going to go to heaven." And I says, "Well, could we talk about it over coffee?" You know,
that work?
True story. True story.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
That's the scary side.
Well, your book's interesting. It's called The Cult of Celebrity.
It's a terrific book.
It really is.
Really, really well done.
And you can see an excerpt on our website at todayshow.com.
And you can catch an episode of The Confessions of a Teen Idol on Sunday night on VH1.